I live in a country where we argue about plastic straws like it's the Civil War, while Norway quietly turned doing the right thing into the default setting. Here's the mental conflict that messed with my head. In America, being green feels like a hobby. In Norway, it's built into the system, like gravity. And I know what you're thinking. Sure. Sounds cute, until you try it in the US. I thought the same thing, until I spent days cross-checking national waste stats, Nordic energy infrastructure, and the actual policy mechanics. Because there's one number I can't unsee. Norway's deposit system runs above 90%, and Infinitum describes a deposit rate of about 92.5% for bottles and cans, with a total return rate up at 97.7%. That is not pretty good. That's machine-like. And here's the information gap, the stat I'm saving for the end. The US still landfills 50% of municipal solid waste in the most recent comprehensive EPA baseline. We'll come back to what that means in real life, money, stress, and why green habits collapse when the system doesn't back you up. So this video isn't 10 eco tips. This is a high-tension economic comparison disguised as lifestyle. Because when Norway, Sweden, and Denmark go green, it's not driven by vibes. It's driven by policy math, and the math rewires human behavior. Welcome to Nexora, where we don't do surface-level noise. We do the uncomfortable numbers behind everyday life. If you're tired of being sold solutions that don't survive contact with reality, subscribe and join the minority that actually audits the system. Not because I need a favor, but because this channel is basically a filter. People who think deeper end up here. I'm going to be real. As an American, I grew up believing the green dream was mostly personal responsibility. Recycle. Drive less. Turn off the lights. But Norway looked at that and said, cool, or we could just engineer the incentives so people don't have to be saints. So here are 10 green habits from Norway, Sweden, and Denmark that I'm jealous of, and why half of them would blow up instantly in America. Habit number 1. The deposit machine that actually works. In Norway, you don't hope people recycle bottles. You pay them to care. Infinitum, the company behind the deposit system, lays it out. The deposit rate is about 92.5% for bottles and cans, and the total return rate is 97.7%. Human terms, that's like building a casino where people voluntarily walk back in to hand you the chips, because the machine is designed so returning them is the easiest thing you can do. In America, the problem isn't that people don't care. It's that our recycling rules change by city, by building, sometimes by week, so even motivated people end up playing recycling roulette. Norway didn't demand better morality. They built better math. Habit number 2. Norway's EV market share is basically a completed mission. Norway didn't just encourage EVs. They structured the entire car market so gas cars are the expensive choice. And the headline result, by finalized year-end 2024 numbers you'd see cited widely in 2026 discussions, is this. Norway finished 2024 at roughly 94% fully electric new car sales. That's not 9 out of 10. That's nearly 19 out of 20. Now, here's the American part of my brain breaking. In the US, people treat EV adoption like a culture war identity test. In Norway, it's closer to a default purchase. Even Reuters reporting on the incentive, carrot and stick logic is dead on. Norway taxes petrol/diesel cars heavily and made EVs cheaper through exemptions, and crucially, kept policy predictable over time. Quick pause. If you're watching this and thinking, okay, but what's the hidden trade? That question is the whole point. Subscribe, not to support the channel, but to confirm you're the kind of person who doesn't accept the default story. Most people consume headlines. You're here to interrogate systems. That's the Nexora audience. If you're still here, hit like too, because the algorithm only respects proof of attention. Habit number 3. Denmark treats heat like infrastructure, not a personal lifestyle choice. Denmark basically treats heating like roads. It's a system decision. The Danish Energy Agency notes about 80% of homes are supplied collectively, and 2 out of 3 Danish houses are heated by district heating, hot water distributed from a central plant. American translation. In the US, We ask every household to solve winter alone. Furnace, fuel choice, repairs, efficiency upgrades, like everyone is operating their own mini utility. Denmark says, no. We'll do this as a network. Would that work in America? Not without planning powers that don't get sued into dust. Habit number 4. Sweden's carbon tax. Pollution pays rent. Sweden doesn't just shame emissions. They price them. A European Parliament briefing notes Sweden's carbon tax increased to 1,450 Swedish crowns, 126 euros, per ton of CO2 in 2024, and together with the EU ETS, it puts a price on 95% of Sweden's fossil CO2 emissions. Human terms, a carbon tax is like charging pollution rent. If you want to dump smoke into the sky, you pay for the privilege. In America, we can't even say the word tax without people reacting like you threatened their family. Habit number 5. Norway's sick leave rules remove the drive sick culture. This one isn't marketed as green, but it changes everything: commuting, consumption, stress. Norway's employer rules state the employer must pay sick pay for up to 16 calendar days, the employer's period. Human terms, if people aren't forced to power through, you get fewer desperation commutes, fewer rushed errands, fewer "I can't afford to stay home so I'm infecting the office" spirals. America treats workers like replaceable parts. That's not just cruel, it's inefficient. It creates chaos downstream. Here's the plot twist. Americans hear Nordic green policies and imagine a moral lecture. But what I'm seeing is consumer convenience engineered by government math. So here's your dilemma. Answer this in the comments exactly. If America copied Norway's model tomorrow, would you personally accept higher upfront taxes if it meant your daily life got cheaper and cleaner? Yes or no? And I'm serious. I'm reading the comments because I want to see which side you pick, and the reason you think your side would actually survive American reality. Habit number 6. Sweden's 480 days of parental benefit, time as policy. Again, this isn't branded eco, but it changes life rhythm. Sweden's parental benefit system pays out for 480 days for one child. Human terms, you can slow down without falling off a financial cliff. Less panic. Less last-minute spending. Less pay for emergency fixes because you don't have time. America treats time like a luxury product. Habit number 7. Right to roam. Nature isn't a subscription. Norway's Environment Agency explains the legal right to roam, movement on foot and skis, camping, picking berries and mushrooms, across open countryside regardless of ownership, with rules. Human terms, nature isn't something you access only if you can afford a cabin, a pass, or a gated community. Would this work in America? Our property culture would have a full-body seizure. But it's not just nice. It reduces demand for high-carbon entertainment because nature is always available. Habit number 8. Denmark's collective systems mindset shows up everywhere, 8:05 to 9 o'clock. This is the cultural layer. In America, we individualize everything: heating, transport, waste, healthcare logistics, then act shocked when solutions scale poorly. Denmark's heating setup is one example, but it reflects a bigger belief. If it's a shared problem, build shared infrastructure. And yes, Americans hear that and instantly think control. But the Nordic framing is more like, we're buying calm. If you want the next layer of this investigation, how Nordic policies turn green habits into economic stability, subscribe. Because this video is one part of a larger series where we compare how countries buy freedom. With money, with time, or with stress. And if you don't subscribe, the algorithm will feed you surface-level hot takes instead of the next installment of this deep dive. Habit number 9. America still buries half its trash, 9:15 to 10:25. Now back to the US baseline. The EPA's National Overview, its most recent comprehensive national dataset, says that in 2018 the U.S. recycled and composted 32.1% of MSW and landfilled 50%. Human terms, half our discarded stuff still goes into the ground. And here's the painful punchline. Yes, this is the 2018 baseline, but if you've been paying attention through 2025, it doesn't feel like we've moved the needle. Not culturally. Not infrastructure-wise. Not systemically. We don't have a trash problem. We have a system follow-through problem. Habit number 10. Consistency. Policies that don't reset every election cycle, 1025 to 1130. This is the habit behind all the habits. Norway's EV rise didn't work because Norwegians are morally superior. It worked because their incentives were predictable, year after year, government after government. Something emphasized in Reuters reporting on the policy stability. In America, we're addicted to policy whiplash. We pilot something, then defund it, then act shocked it didn't work. Human terms, you can't build a new, normal, when the rules change faster than people replace their cars, furnaces, or habits. Here's what I'm jealous of, beyond the stats. Norway's deposit system isn't just recycling. It's removing friction. It's saying, your brain has limited energy. We're not going to waste it on trash decisions. Sweden's carbon tax isn't just environmental. It's economic clarity. It tells businesses, plan around reality. Pollution isn't free. Denmark's heating model isn't just efficient. It's collective bargaining with physics. Instead of every household fighting winter alone, the system fights winter together. And America? We keep trying to solve system problems with individual virtue. That's like trying to fix a broken elevator by telling everyone to jump higher. The Nordic countries didn't ask citizens to be saints. They engineered green to feel normal. Remember the information gap? The stat I promised we'd come back to? Here it is, clean and brutal. The EPA's last full national snapshot shows 50% of U.S. municipal solid waste was landfilled, 2018. And now compare that emotionally, not politically, emotionally. That's half our discarded stuff buried. Not looped into a return habit like Norway's deposit system, where the deposit rate is about 92.5% and total return rate is 97.7%. So yeah, I'm jealous. Because Norway, Sweden, and Denmark figured out something America keeps dodging. If you want people to live differently, you don't beg. You build. If you watch to the end, you're the minority, the 1% that actually cares how global systems work. Welcome to Nexora. Drop your yes/no in the comments with your reason, and I'll see you in the next one.